Uh, Deep breath. We're on to our next amazing guest. I'm just going to give you a brief introduction. As I say, all of his beautiful information is on the website, so on the Dragon site, and you can read all about it and see all the links. So, KIERON, he's also a healer, a teacher, alchemist, and a brother of dragons, which I love that, and I love his logo. And been working on this path for 20 years, so he's been doing it a while. Yeah, he's a master and founder of the Pendragon Reiki, and that's one that I keep thinking, oh, I need to go on that course. It sounds amazing. It's an energetic healing system using dragon energy for healing and protection. He's also says he's deeply honoured to be the guardian of the Violet Flame Earth Chakra, which is on Leith Hill in Surrey. So I love Surrey. That's where I was born and bred most of my life. So, and he's also got a chapter in a book called the Energy Healers Oracle. And today he's going to be talking about calling to the dragons for protection and guidance. And I think in these times we all need a bit of that. So, KIERON, welcome, welcome, my friend.
Thanks, Kev. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you well. Yeah.
Excellent. That's nice. I apologise in advance if I'm a bit croaky. One, because I have a quiet, softly spoken, gentle, croaky voice. Anyway, but two, because I've been teaching Pendragon Reiki today,
Uh,
and so I've been immersed in dragon energy since about 9:30 this morning. So, um, yeah, hopefully at some point, Kev, you'll be able to pop along and join us and
I'd love to.
have a go at that, and everybody else as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so I'd just like to thank Yumiko for her insight into the energy of dragons. It's really lovely to spend time with like-minded people and like-minded energies, and there's so much lovely wisdom and an approach to the world of dragons. And there's so many different interpretations and opportunities for learning and different ways of seeing things and interpreting things. So it's really lovely to experience that. If in my talk, I may have different points of view and different thoughts and different ideas about things. And this is where your discernment is important. Have a listen to what I have to say. If it resonates, if it makes sense, then awesome. If it doesn't, then have a think about it. And if it really doesn't, then you stick with what you know and what you've got, because we all have different points of view and different ideas and different ways of doing things. So um, just go with the flow, as it were. Um, so I'll just give a little thanks for my introduction, Kev. And like you said, I've been working on the Dragon Path for 20 odd years, kind of directly, but indirectly, most of my life, really. As a kid, I was fascinated and obsessed with the world of dragons. I read almost all of a library of science fiction and fantasy books that my dad had, and that was hundreds and hundreds of books. And I sort of it was quite sad that in many of the stories, the dragons were seen as the aggressors or something to be defeated. I'm a video game geek. I'm very privileged to be old enough to have been there when the first video game came out and played the original Pong and Space Invaders and stuff like that. But then again, in many of the video games, the dragons are the ones, the bosses to be defeated and to be overcome, and they're portrayed as big, grumpy, angry gits, which is quite sad. And my explanation for that is that the energy of them, the pre-Christian energy, was very strong and very powerful. The idea of the divine feminine energy being connected with the ley lines, Mother Earth, the dragon lines, those songs and spirits that danced before the church came into power, couldn't be destroyed when they usurped and overtook the energy. So they demonized dragons, literally turning them into demons, winged aggressors. And those stories and the aggression, has turned a beautiful, kind, loving creatures, friendly and funny and silly in the extreme, into something that people are scared of naturally, which I think is a great shame. So part of my job is to help to dispel that mythology and mythos and to try to bring back the loving, supporting, rather silly energy of the dragons. And as Yumiko said, it's not because they are not clever or intelligent, it's because they don't understand. They're like very much like dogs for me. They, when they're doing something and they're looking at you like, we've got a dog in our house who just looks at me like I'm completely stupid. Well, how can you not do that? I can do that. Why can't you do that? Come on, let's hurry up. Let's go. Let's run. I was like, I can't run anymore. My hips are knackered. I need hip replacements. And the dog's going, but it's so easy. All you got to do is relax and enjoy it. And as you were saying about the fun and excitement part of things, they have that freedom and relaxing as well, not holding that stress and anxiety in our bodies. We do that brilliantly as humans. It's one of our amazing traits, but for better or for worse. And so to be able to really relax, again, there's nothing more relaxing than seeing a dog with his back, his paws in the air, completely at peace with the universe. Yeah, that energy is reflected in the energy of the dragons as well. And I love to see the Eastern dragons, the pictures and paintings, because they seem fun and silly, and they look like, yes, dragons holding pearls of wisdom or fireballs of knowledge and understanding or golden energy and light, but they also, to me, look like Labradors chasing after bulls, and there's incredible power in that freedom, which I really, really love. Absolutely. So I said to Kevin, talk today a little bit about dragons as protectors, and they are protectors of knowledge and understanding. And again, that's something which was easy for the sort of new energy, the new wage of religion, to turn that into something that they are guarding in a negative way. The archetypal pictures of dragons sitting on a big pile of treasure, guarding it and setting fire to it and burning the bejesus out of anyone that could get anywhere near it, is a real bastardization of the tales of the dragons in my eyes. They are guardians of knowledge and understanding, which can be seen as gold. Alchemically, it's the world of alchemy. It's that golden knowledge and understanding, the idea of the self, understanding ourselves, as Yumiko said as well. If we know ourselves, understand ourselves, not just the things that we're good at, which, because it's very easy to talk about the things that we're good at, but understanding our faults and our foibles and the things that we need challenge with, and to learn more about the shadow aspect of ourselves. We are taught that up here is good and down there is bad, but down there is equally as good as up here. And there's lots of knowledge and understanding to be had from delving into those places. But if we delve into those places unprotected or unaware of those challenges, in a Luke Skywalker going into the face his inner demons, which turned out to be his father. I know it's a spoiler, team, but the film's been out for 45 years, so I think it's okay not to give the secret away. But he does face his dad, Darth Vader. Sorry again if you haven't seen it to give it away, but that inner fear is something to be connected with. But if we go into these things without, in my view, without protection, and a sense of connection with ourselves, then we can do ourselves a bit of damage. If we take on lots of knowledge and understanding, and we're not ready for it, then you can do yourself energetically and physically damaged. On my particular path, when I discovered the idea of the Kundalini dragon, the energy that sits at the base of our spine, ready to be awakened as we spiritually awaken in due time and in due course. When I heard about this, I thought, well, this is amazing. I have a dragon living inside me. That's fantastic. I'm going to wake it up. And so what I did effectively, energetically, was slap my dragon about the face for a good 2 or 3 weeks, repeatedly, going, wake up, 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 repeatedly. And when my dragon did wake up, because the rest of my energy body wasn't ready for it, it sort of burst into life, and my whole energy system exploded like a whole load of exploding light bulbs. And it manifested itself in my physical body when I put my back out, so I could hardly walk for 6 weeks. This is the idea, this is not having a physical spine bent in half because your energy centers are absolutely out of whack, is not the best way forward. Let these things unfold under the due time and due course with protection and knowledge. And this is where the energy and idea of the dragons protecting things and being a little bit frugal or mean with the truth sometimes, again, is played into. Because they're letting things go at the right time. They give you the information at the right time. We, as humans, we have, or feel like we have, a limited time span because we forget that reincarnation part of things when we get downloaded here on Earth. We feel like we've only got a short amount of time because we see that human life is so delicate and so easily lost, that we kind of forget that if we screw things up royally, then we can come back and have another go. Again, like the video games, you can, reboot and have another go at that. So the idea of dragons holding that space and holding that gold as well, and protecting it is important. We need to be ready to receive it. Again, I'm going to use the video game analogy. When you play on a video game, you have a certain level and you go through it and you learn skills and you get some attributes and experience points and that type of thing. When you get to a certain point, you face a big boss, which regularly is some kind of dragon. And so you have to implement the skills that you've learned to overcome that dragon, to beat it. And if you do that, then you get lots of more experience and lots more things to, again, up your knowledge and experience levels and ideas. An extra lovely shiny sword with an extra big jewel in it, which is always fantastic. And you move on to the next one. And that's similar. Now, if you take away the fact that in the video game you have to destroy the dragon, if you move that to the spiritual path of gaining enough experience and self-knowledge and awareness to be able to then communicate with the dragon, to then be given that knowledge and understanding at the right time, then it's a very positive thing. If we would get all that knowledge and understanding all in one go, then your energy system is overloaded, and it's not a good thing. There are different symbols and signs in our world of dragons for dragons being protectors. One of my personal favorites is the Ouroboros, the dragon that bites its own tail. And I've got some beautiful visual aids for you all. This is a very expensive dragon toy from the pound shop. Other shops are available. And this is a snake, basically one of those little wiggly snake toys. Now, in my world, and my version of dragons and dragon energy, snakes and dragons and fire drakes and worms and lindworms and wyverns are all very similar in their energy, serpents especially, snakes especially. So if we have this wiggly snake, and you can imagine it having big wings and feet if you want, but the Ouroboros is the dragon that bites its own tail, and it forms this protective circle. Now, in alchemy and other practices, yes, the dragon is devouring itself, constantly reassessing itself, constantly checking in. Do I need this? Is this still nice? Do I need to still have this thought pattern, these thought beliefs? And if you don't have them, then reabsorbing them as energy and moving on to new things. And if we think of our spiritual journey as always checking our wardrobe to make sure that the clothes still fit us and the t-shirts that we've had 20 years and are still relevant and still cool and funky, and luckily mine are, which is very good. But some of the shirts they used to wear, I want to get rid of those, so we can repurpose those and we can make more space for new things. And this is where our journey is continues as well from a spiritual point of view. The Ouroboros is a big protector and we can call upon it to be around us for that protection as well in lots of different ways. But one of my favorite stories about the dragon as a protector is in ancient Egypt, where a dragon or snake god called Mehen is often seen and depicted on the tombs, guiding lost souls and also the god forms into the underworld, into the darkness, into the shadow. Most notably, Mehen is the name of the dragony god, serpenty god, sometimes depicted as having 7 heads, sometimes 5, sometimes 3, but always protecting on those boats that journey into the underworld. He's so powerful and strong that it protects even the sun god Ra as he rides his chariot across the sky and then goes down into the underworld at night time. And he protects Ra against another god form, snake form, Apophis, who is trying to destroy everything. And the shadow self in our world, in our streams of consciousness, is not trying to destroy everything, but trying to destroy or show us weakness and fear, fear is a good thing. Fear's kept humanity alive and kept us safe when there were things out in the darkness that would kill us and rip us apart and eat us. So fear is a good thing. But in our modern world, we can become overly fearful of even the most mundane things because we don't necessarily have anything that's really going to do us any harm, except other humans mostly. So the fear can be really exaggerated. But when we can learn to work and understand it and work in the shadow, it's a very important and positive way of understanding. As Yumiko said, if you know it yourself and understand that as part of the alchemical process, then you can really relax and let go of those blockages. So being able to truly relax and not be scared of things anymore is a very powerful thing, a very positive thing. There's great strength in letting go of fear in a logical way. If somebody gets upset with you on social media and you get really scared about it, really, you just block them, hit the block button. What are they going to do? What's the worst that can happen? Well, they can destroy your life. Well, can they? They can if you allow them to, which is again what some of the things that Yumiko was saying. So to get back to Mahen protects Ra. He is the symbol, yes, of the Ouroboros dragon. The Ouroboros as well can protect us as a part of the energetic Merkaba. In Pendragon Reiki, my energy healing system, I call for protection to a whole host of dragon energies. The Merkaba has the ability to, like body vehicle, to help us move between the worlds and between dimensions. And the Ouroboros dragon can help us to do that as well, very powerfully and very positively. Because for me, it's no coincidence in the world of science that if you wanted to choose 2 points in space, let's say us and Alpha Centauri, for example, and I'm not sure about the maths here, so forgive me if I get things wrong, but I think between us and Alpha Centauri is 100 light years. So it takes light 100 years to move between one and the other. That's an enormous distance. That's a bloody long way. If there was a wormhole between the 2 places, then effectively what is happening is this point here and this point here are stretched to become a singularity, to a single point. If we take our idea of the snake or the dragon, and we have the head in one point, Alpha Centauri, the other one in, let's say, Guildford, for the sake of argument, because it's a nice place, which is where I used to live. If we were to have enough energy to spin those things, twist those things together into a singularity, into a single point, and you could walk through this gateway, you would walk from Guildford onto Alpha Centauri. It wouldn't end up very well. Obviously, I don't think the atmosphere is great on Alpha Centauri this time of year, but we should be able to do that. Now, another word for dragon is worm, especially in the north of England. So what we have here are wormholes. And so the wormhole is the dragon being able to close the distance between one point in space and another point in space to create that singularity. And whilst they do it, they protect us in that space with the Ouroboros shape. So this also works from a metaphysical point of view in spheres of consciousness. So in my world, the dragons are guardians and guides of the realms, the mental realms, the emotional realms, the spiritual realm, the physical realm. And when we journey, we can call upon their energy to protect us as we move into different spheres of consciousness. And again, they're guardians of those spheres. They're guardians of that energy. So we may find in that video game analogy again, is if we come up against a dragon who's sitting there and we want to move into a different realm of consciousness, and the dragon's sort of going, well, you're going to have to get past me first. Your name's not down, you're not coming in, type thing. Then if we respect that, we must understand that we're not ready for that yet. It may not be the right time for us and we may take an entire lifetime to get to that point, or it may be next week or Tuesday or 3:30 this afternoon. But we are not ready on our journey at that point. We need to respect that, because a lot of our human consciousness is about now, especially, is we want everything on demand. If I want to watch the next series of Star Trek, then I should be able to watch the next series of Star Trek, but I can't. I need to subscribe to it. I need to wait for it to come up and something else. And I don't have the patience for that. It makes my eye twitch because I want to watch Star Trek. But sometimes we need to wait to be able to see the right things at the right times, and to do that is important. Getting back to the calling the elemental dragons into a space for protection, I just want to, if it's okay, to do a little exercise to help call the dragons in around everyone here, using that energetic little poem which I have. So all I need you guys to do is to just take a little moment and just to sit back. If you have dragon guardians or guides, we all have our dragon familiars, we may be consciously aware of them or not, but just invite them into the space to be with you as your guides and protectors. And what I'd like you to do is to just go with me and listen, really listen to the sound of the invocation, the sound of the dragons that I call in, and invite them into this space to form this protective Merkaba around you. When you do that, the more you open your energy system to have them in as protectors, then the more energy that they can bring forwards and connect with. Okay? So let's call them in and see how it goes. Dragons of earth and sea and sky, dragons of fire around us fly. Dragons of night and those of gold, come close and let your wings unfold. Dragons of love and those of change, be with us now and rearrange to dragons of change and those of love. As below them, so above. Dragons one and dragons all, come close and heed this dragon's call. Okay, so just breathe, bring you back in the room, open your eyes. In that little poem, which was given to me by the energy of the Merlin when I brought forward my Pendragon Reiki system, it connects with the dragons of earth and sea and sky, which are the three elements which the ancient Celts venerated. Fire was sacred, and it forms an energetic triangle around us. Then we have the energy of gold and light, which is above and below, the energy of love, which is masculine and feminine, red and white, the energy of change, of transformation, of alchemy. So we have the main sort of 7 elements, really. And the dragons one and dragons all is bringing them in because we are human beings, and there are many different dimensions that we're not aware of, and many different sizes and shapes and ideas and ideologies that we don't know anything about yet. So from my point of view, that's my be all and end all of, or anybody else that knows me. If you ever listen to Popmaster, which used to be on Radio 2, at the end of Popmaster, Ken Bruce would say to people, right, so if you have any thank yous or hellos to people, then say the thank yous now. And the guy would go, I'd like to thank my wife, James. Hello to Jane, and the kids, to Susie and Robert, and all the guys down the pub in the darts team, the Wild Bull on a Wednesday. I'd like them. They're very nice to say that. And James, One-Eyed James, and his dog, Patch, and anyone else who knows me. And that phrase, anyone else who knows me, is the equivalent of dragons one and dragons all. It's any other energy of dragons that we don't know or are not consciously aware of yet to come into the space and protect us, because they're all around. So if anyone has any thoughts or comments about that little poem, how it felt, how it was, any questions about anything, if they want to drop a message in the chat, Kev, then maybe you could field some questions for me, or any thoughts, or tell me how it was, how it feels to you. You've been dragoning for a year or two. How was the dragon's call, the Pendragon's call?
It was beautiful. I always imagine for myself, because my shamanic practice is the above, the before, the below, behind, the right, the left, the internal, and the around. And as you were doing it, I sort of felt that protection that I put on every day and before every session, healing session, come in, and yeah, it was beautiful, and the gold and silver and above. So it felt like my three dragons normally sort of stand around me, but this time they created the circle, so I had them flowing, one below, one in the middle, and one above, in a circle around me. Which is beautiful. So I sort of felt like I was fully coned. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. And as I say, that's the plan. It helps us to protect us in the spheres of consciousness, um, so that we're there and protected. And then we can go on an energetic journey. We can go inside ourselves for shamanic practices. We can go in guided meditations. I try to use it a lot in everything I do. And as I said, it was gifted to me by my teacher, the spirit of the Merlin, when Pendragon Reiki came forward. Um, and some people, the idea of protection is something that divides the house a little bit. Some people say that we need protection. I'm definitely in that camp myself. Other people say that if your intentions are pure and you're doing things for the greater good, you don't necessarily need protection. But having suffered energetically on many occasions before I started to use protection, then it's something that I'm a big fan of, and I call that call to the dragons when I wake up in the morning, when I'm brushing my teeth, and when I'm brushing my teeth before I go to bed as well. And in our conscious state, it helps to protect us from the mundane aspects of the daily life, and but also at night time it helps protect us in our sleep, because any energy which is seeking to derail us from our divine plan or from our way forward can sneak into our dreams. It can sneak into our thoughts, like an inception type situation. It will just whisper in our ear. People think that the sort of the darkness or the negative energy will stand there like a huge winged demon throwing firebolts at us to stop us doing things. In my experience, it doesn't do that. It just whispers in your ear, "Oh, don't bother doing protection today. It's not worth it. Oh, don't go to the meditation class today. Or don't do that. Don't go for a run this morning because you don't really need to." And it just softly and gently wears you down till you're just sitting on the sofa eating pizza, watching Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway, which is lovely and great, but it doesn't help us necessarily on the path that we should be moving on and moving forwards to.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a big one of my teachers always said that if you're a bright shining light and the rest of it, you need protection. And so I believed that until I did some Reiki, and then I got a pushback and was ill for quite a while. And another Reiki master had to come in and clear that energy off me. So
Mm,
now I do the same as you. First thing in the morning when I'm having a shower, I call in the protection
yeah.
before every healing session, before any of these calls. And like you say, before I go to bed, I put the protection around me so I can sleep without those thoughts. And
Mm,
definitely, like you say, I've had it when there's days like, oh, I can't be bothered, and I wake up in the morning and all those thoughts when you first wake up, like, anxiousness are there. If I protect myself, I wake up in the morning, I'm like full of joy and, oh, thanks for giving me another day, and the sun's up and the birds are singing, and it makes a huge difference.
mm.
So I'm in your camp that we do need protection. As you say, it's not a big fiery beast with horns and it's red, and it's normally, like say, a little whisper in your ear
Yeah,
that wears you down like a little drip 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 of water, isn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at some of the chat questions. It says, Irana says, once you summon the dragons, what do you make them do? I'm calling to them for protection to keep me safe and secure on all the levels of spheres of consciousness. They are intelligent, independently wonderful beings. They know that I'm invoking them, I'm calling them to be with me, to protect me, keep me safe. So I just let them get on with it, really. Um, it's just calling them into the space. Otherwise, they're sitting on the sidelines like substitutes at a football match, not being able to really do anything. As our guardian angels do a similar thing. I forget to call my guardian angel regularly, and I can imagine him just face palming himself, just you stupid boy, just let me do something. We need to call them in to help us, and they can deal with all kinds of things. Let's see. So somebody asked here. Margaret asked if we can get a copy of that poem, and I posted that in the chat there, so you can have that and to use that. Maria's asked how do dragons connect with the archangel Michael. There's many different ways, and Michael is the guardian of the element of fire, and so Michael's mount is at the top of Glastonbury Tor, where I live now, and there's several depictions within the little church in Glastonbury of the Tor and the Archangel Michael standing at the top and a dragon underneath it. And Michael has his sword in in the top of using St. Michael's Tower as his sword. Now, some depictions and some people will say that that is him defeating the dragon in the same way as St. George defeating the dragon. But the way I see it is it's helping, he's there activating and working with the energy of the dragon. So the energy of the green dragon around the base of the Tor, the green, very, very powerful green mother dragon, she sort of lends the fire to Michael's sword of fire and power. So the dragons are the guardians of the elements, the sacred fires and flames. And so for me, my KO is holding a flaming sword, yes, but it is dragon powered, that flaming sword. Again, other people may see things in a slightly different way, but that's how I see it. When we do energy work and we need some clearing around us afterwards, if we've been doing healing with clients, I say to people, use a wall of dragon fire around you to clear that space, or I can ask Archangel Michael to clear the space with his flaming sword. Both are great protectors, clearers of energy, and shining lights for truth and knowledge and understanding, as far as I know. Prayer said, I actually felt heat rise up my spine during the end of the prayer. Yeah, that's good. And as it should do, because as we are calling the energy outside us, around us to protect us, we are also evoking and getting the energy going within us as well, the microcosm and the macrocosm. The repeated part of the talk, or the poem, Dragons of Love and those who change, be with me now, then rearrange to dragons of change and those of love, as below then so above. When you do Pendragon Reiki, if you do it, then the first part is calling to the dragons within ourselves, the caduceus dragons, the energy of the red and white dragons that will wrap themselves around each of the chakras, and the energy of the change dragon, which sits just above the brow, above the crown center. That's within ourselves. And the second part is out into the universe. So that caduceus becomes the planets in our solar system, or the solar systems themselves, as big as we can imagine, these enormous galactic dragons holding that space for protection, because we live in a time which is very, very challenging. We can wake up and be bombarded with the negativity of the news, and this terrible thing has happened, and this planet's on fire, and this one's underwater, and there's millions of people dying over here, and there's people killing millions of people over there, and we can feel completely powerless and useless to change that on a global scale. But what we're not powerless and useless and incapable of doing is changing our attitude towards things and how we work within ourselves and our own personal energy system and protection. If we work on that, it's like having a star lighting up the sky in the night sky. And if enough people do that, and we all work together to hold that highest vibration, hold that light, then over time, those light dots will start to join together. Again, like sort of a Pac-Man thing, video games. And when we all start to do that, other people will start to do that, because the collective consciousness starts to do that. And we hold that energy of protection and of love and of light for ourselves and for humanity. Then we start to raise vibration, and things start to change and shift and to move. And as we've talked about before this evening, Yumiko said about the collective consciousness, that big shift this year, the year of the dragon. I've seen since the beginning of February, since the new year, such a shift, and it's really starting to accelerate and take on and move. People are starting to really dial in to those changes and those shifts and that type of thing. So what I would say and suggest is personal protection, work through your ideals, your thoughts and foibles. If you want to go into the shadow of yourself, call upon the dragons for protection. They're not going to stop you facing the fear, but they're going to hold space and help you hold space so that you can have a dialogue with that energy and that type of thing, and understand it without being scared. Because fear is a positive tool that helps us, and sometimes it gets out of control. But if we work with it and understand it, then it can really help and change. I am by nature a very quiet, very scared, very paranoid, very worried person. I overthink things all the time. I'm a Piscean. I spin around in circles, disappearing up my own backside all the time. But with the energy of the dragons, I can start to break that cycle, and I can start to rest and relax and take some time and faced those challenges of things which I've really tried to know and understand, and I've not bipolar, but I'm so energetically sensitive that my energy is up and down like massive waves. And in the last, since 2012 especially, the energy has been all over the place. The Schumann resonance has been bonkers. You know, the ascension path is going at 4,000 miles an hour. And I sometimes have felt that I'm losing my mind, absolutely losing the plot completely. Once I started to use this energy of protection with the dragons, it starts to calm those things down so that you can actually find some space to breathe and to understand and that type of thing. So it's not just an advocate for my energy healing system, it's an advocate for protection, whatever that may be, for taking time to breathe and understand and that type of thing. I'm just going to flick back to some of these messages and thoughts that are coming up for people. Iran asked, do you communicate with them? What are they like? Dragons, I do communicate with them. Sometimes they are awesome and playful and quite silly. And they, again, are just sort of, come on, let's do this. Let's go here. Let's go over to Alpha Centauri and have some party time and fun. And I go, I can't. I'm human. I need to breathe. There's no atmosphere over there. There's no party in Alpha Centauri. There's no atmosphere. That's a terrible joke, but it's true. And they go, well, why can't you do that? Why can't you come? Because, and like Yumiko was saying about educating them, it's not that they're infinitesimally incredible beings, but they don't understand the simple truths. I have the same thing with angels when they say, oh, surely you can just manifest this. I'm going, well, can you do this? Well, I can't do it because I need to work. Well, why do you need to work? Because I need to earn money to pay my rent so that I can buy food and I can eat. Well, why do you need to eat? Well, if I don't eat, then I'm not going to exist anymore. But just feed off energy, feed off light. I can't do that. I'm not a plant. I'm a human being. At some point in the future, that'd be lovely if I could, but I can't at the moment. I would really like to be able to do that, but I'm not built that way at the moment. So I need to, and they go, oh, you make life so complicated to humans. And I would dearly like, as an aside, sorry, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute. I would dearly like every angel, archangel, divine being to be incarnate just for 5 minutes. Be a human being for 5 minutes and see how bloody difficult it is. And then you can get back onto your multi-winged, multi-dimensional selves and then judge us and then complain about that we're not doing things right and properly. Just spend 5 minutes being me. I'll swap you. Other dragons, to get back to the point, other dragons are grumpy. They are so fed up and bored of humans being rubbish and stupid. And they just have set my own guardian dragon, Dagomar, who sits around the center of the earth. When I first really connected with him, aside from my little dragon family who wanted to come flying, and that was amazing, but a proper dragon guardian, he did nothing more than open his eye like an old tomcat around a full warm fire. He opened his eyes, stared at me, which is one of their ways of communicating and saying hello, a dragon's eye right in your face. And he just stared at me and sort of went, and went back to sleep. Oh, thanks very much. I've waited 35 years to communicate with you, you ungrateful old sod. And it took 4 years for him to wake up enough to actually come flying with me. And he's only done it once. It was an amazing experience. I absolutely am blown away by it. But it was, yeah. And it's not really grumpy in the same way as humans are grumpy. It's just a lack of knowledge and understanding that it takes us to, as small children compared to them, times to get round to doing things properly. Let's have a quick look then. Red Dragon of Breath of Life. What do I know about this dragon? Nothing at all. The Breath of Life dragon. The red dragon, there's different versions. For me, there's the divine feminine energy of the red dragon, the masculine counterpart, the white dragon, working together in the caduceus for healing, for protection, for knowledge and understanding. There's the energy of the red dragon, the giant red serpent from the Aboriginal tribes, part of these two enormous ley lines that circumnavigate Mother Earth that work together. But as a breath of life type thing, not so much. Your says, you're talking a lot about video games. Are they not killing the energy? I'm not sure what you mean about killing the energy, but my take on social media, or not social media, but video games, films, TV, books, in our modern world, for me, they are the best and fastest way of shifting the collective consciousness. Now, other people may disagree entirely with that, but this is my thought process. Hear me out. In the last 20, 25 years, the Harry Potter franchise, the Lord of the Rings franchise, some of the video games have helped to breed an entire world-renowned or worldwide group of young people who are completely open to the idea of magic, of transformation, of change, of the idea of dwarves and elves and different races. The X-Men films, the Marvel comic book superhero films open our consciousness to the idea of those aspects of God forms being those aspects of ourselves. The X-Men being people who are different. The Indigo children, the Starseed children are different. They have different abilities. We have different abilities than the average human being, the Muggles who are still asleep. So when we can use words like Muggle, and everybody goes, oh yeah, okay, I understand what a Muggle is. It's somebody that's not open to magic or not able to do magic. But for me, there's somebody that's not awake to the possibility that Dr. Xavier's School for Gifted Children is something that could be a reality, or Hogwarts. I would give my left arm to teach at Hogwarts, a real life Hogwarts. It's a life ambition to. I worked in schools for 25 years building stage sets with young people, and I would do anything to be able to have a class of kids, whether that I'm teaching clairvoyance to, or to any of the shamanic practices or things like that too, for young people to have that opportunity rather than having to wait till they're in their 30s or 40s, or most of my clients that the 50 and above, or they used to be, the younger generations coming through now. So I believe that video games are positive, or anything can be taken as negative and seen as a destroyer of things, but I like to take them as positive things, not just because I really enjoy them and it give me a nice break from reality. It also helps us to learn that there are different types of reality and opportunities in realities and different versions of reality. I learnt those ideas, the ideology of communicating with different forms, different beings, a being that's made completely out of energy. I learnt that from Star Trek when I was a kid, watching James Kirk. Just talking to a being that was green with strange dealy bopper, or a being that was just energy, and he would communicate with him and say, "What do you do on your planet? How does this work? How does that work?" And I think that's a really positive thing, a really good thing, a really interesting thing to do. But I don't think if I hadn't seen Star Trek that I'd be open to that possibility. I just think if some energetic being came and waved its rainbow-colored energy at me, I would think that I was losing the plot completely, and I'd probably go on Prozac. Right. I've waffled a lot, Kev. Anyone have any other questions or thoughts, do you think, or should I
I don't think
wrap
you've
it up?
waffled. I think you've been amazing.
Thank you very much.
I think there's a few more questions. I think there was the people's opinions. But yeah, there's Exeter University has just started a witchcraft degree, so
Yeah, it
School of
has.
Hogwarts is starting.
It has, and I'd love to be. I was very annoyed and upset. I was over the moon happy that Exeter had done that, and then gutted about the fact that I'm not the one teaching the defense against the dark arts.
Exactly. Well, maybe we should walk down there and tell them they need to add a section about dragons, and we can stand up in front of the class and teach
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
Anyone got any extra questions they want to ask? Anyone want to come on camera and ask? They're more than welcome to.
Yeah, just wave.
Stephen?
Stephen, you wave.
Hi. Yeah, you said you were energy sensitive, but I remember you from the last Dragon Summit I went to, and you said you channel.
Hey, Stephen, I'm really sorry, but I missed all of what you said. I heard you hi, and I heard you say that you saw me at the last thing, and I didn't hear anything else in between because there was lots of interference. So if you want to have another go at that, that'd be great.
I was just wondering, like, to use the channel thoughts.
Well, man, I'm really sorry. I'm not getting anything. You said hi, and a couple
We're
of
having
times.
some network issues.
Yeah, I think it is. And I apologise for that. If you want to type a little message in or message me outside of this, drop me an email or something. I'll be happy to chat and answer any of the questions, but it doesn't seem to be working in here. So I'm just going to back to one of the questions here. That's all right. Maria says,
Okay.
white silver dragons are the different clans of dragons. In my knowledge and understanding, yes, there are 9 clans of dragons in Chinese mythology. In the dragon rune system, which I work with, there are 9 different clans of dragons as well. But again, that's all open to interpretation and understanding. But as far as I see it and know it, yes, there are different types and clans of dragons. So hopefully that. The clans of dragons tend to be connected to the elements: the earth, air, fire, water, crystal dragons, mountain dragons, that type of thing as well. A couple of nice people saying thank yous. That's very kind. Thank you very much. Yeah, grew up with Dragon Tales, a TV show which children travelled to a dragon land with a magical stone. That sounds awesome. Sounds really cool. I haven't seen that. I wish I had. My earliest memory of a positive role model dragon was Falcor the Luck Dragon from the Neverending Story, which came out when I was about 10 or 11, I think it was. And he looked like a big Labrador, and he was very happy, and he laughed all the time. But he could, transport Atreyu, the hero, across vast distances just by happiness and positive thoughts as well. And so I was a big fan of his. Oh, here we are. How have you dealt with the issues of channeling dragons being energy sensitive? Channeling is interesting because what I've done over the years, because when I was a kid, I used to see spirit all the time, the fairy folk, the lost souls, the dead, and that type of thing. And it all got shut down when I was in my teens. I had a breakdown or breakthrough, and I didn't open up again until I was in my early 30s. The issue of being sensitive is difficult because it's like having people talking to you all the time, or energy, or being up and down, and being tired or happy or hyperactive or depressed. The energy and idea of protection is something that made a massive difference to me. It's like wearing noise cancelling headphones, so you can filter out the things that you don't want to hear or listen, or being in one of those sensory deprivation tanks. The difference is then that you have some nice silence, some quiet, and then you can invite the energy of the dragons in for channeling, and then communicate with them far more readily, because it's far less of a sort of huge broadband thing. It's just an individual phone call. It's very similar to our situation where there's lots and lots of people, lots of messages. So doing a one-to-one rather than everything happening all at the same time. Channeling dragon energy is interesting. They sort of focus a little bit on me, so I channel dragon language, light language, and in the sounds and songs that I do in my guided meditations, I end up singing dragon language quite a lot as well. So it's nice to be able to do that without it just sort of destroying or distracting me energetically too much. And that's all down to protection for me and mine. So that's how I do that. So Naomi says, we do a whole term's topic in our year 2 on dragons. Yes, the kids write and learn about and how to draw dragons. Excellent. That's fantastic. Yeah, and it is one of those sea changes. The other franchise which I didn't talk about in films and TV was the How to Train Your Dragon series. And that's really started to change. That really changed people's minds and ideas as well. because Toothless and Dragon, although he's really powerful, is quite silly when you first meet him, and the tribe around them try to destroy all the dragons, but then they start to realize and understand if you work with the dragons instead of working against them, much greater things can be achieved. And I love that because it's an allegory for humanity's reawakening of working with dragon energy over the last probably 20 years or so, that people have started to go, oh, let's not think of these things as destroyers and negative and painful and hurtful and nasty. Let's try and work with them and see what happens. And if human beings could do that with more species and more of other people from other religious beliefs and other languages and that type of thing, and other continents, then the world would be a much better place. And let's hope that in the not too distant future that we start to do that more readily and more effectively. I think some of the big boys throwing their toys out of their pram, Boris and Donald and Vlad, are the last of the old guard, the old school misogynistic, idiotic patriarchy that should disappear as soon as is humanly possible and be usurped by somebody who's much more open to knowledge and understanding and compassion. And let's hope that happens in a very short time. Otherwise, humanity, in my small, teeny tiny opinion, is screwed. But that might be me being a bit defeatist, but let's hope not. Yeah, thanks, Gav. You just put up my website and stuff. I've got some dragony related guided meditations upon there already, and other bits and pieces. And I said Pendragon Reiki, energy healing sessions, and that kind of thing. And do feel free if anyone has had their interest piqued, or I've annoyed anyone enough to want to get in touch with me and have a discussion about things, then I'm more than happy to have a chat and talk about things if that's something you'd like to do. Big shout out, Alan. Lovely to see you, brother. Fellow Pendragon Reiki-ist and Pendragon Reiki tattooist as well. So.
Beautiful. We've got a couple of minutes. Any last questions? Or is everyone satisfied? I think it's like you're getting lots of thank yous. Oh, go on, Maria. Yeah, Maria.
Hey, I just visited your website, Karen. Thank you for your talk. I actually doing this for the first time, so I'm not sure how much people really what knowledge is available out there. But I noticed that there was a 7-pointed star on one of your Violet Flame meditations. Is there any connections with a 7-pointed star and the Violet Flame and the dragons?
Yeah, absolutely. The 7-pointed star, the energy of the Violet Flame, is about alchemy and transformation and change. And in alchemical practice and alchemy throughout history, 1400 years of depictions of alchemy, there are regularly dragons that sit beneath what's called an alembic, a glass vial, which holds lots of things. Sometimes it holds people, sometimes it holds stuff. But dragons have the incredible ability energetically to send that fire and flame, which gives us the energy for personal transformation and change. So the 7-pointed star, the energy of the Violet Flame Chakra, is overseen on Leith Hill in Surrey, is overseen by a silver violet dragon. She is the energetic guardian of the flame. And dragons are guardians of fires and flames. So all the flames of consciousness that we know and understand are brought forward, in my eyes, by a different dragon. They may be directed and moved by Kuan Yin or by the Master Jesus or the Buddha or whoever or whatever, but they are brought forward by the energy of the dragons because they are guardians of the fires and flames. So yeah, the energy of alchemy is very regularly overseen by the energy of dragons and the phoenix as well. And the phoenix is the feminine counterpart to the dragon energy. Dragon energy in alchemy is masculine. So that drives the change. but the phoenix holds her wings wide and condenses the purer form of us and sort of rebirths us into a new version of ourselves, a purer version of ourselves. So the energy of the dragon and the phoenix work together, but the dragon is the one that drives forward the transformation and change. I hope that answers your question. I hope that makes sense.
Beautiful. I think we will close it down there.
Awesome
Kieran, thank you very much for your time, my friend, and having spent a hard day working and then coming on here. Thank you for sharing so eloquently.
No, you're welcome. 12 hours of dragons today. It's been great.
There you go. Wow. Let's send him lots of love. Thank you for that.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
We'll be sharing all the links, and yeah, if people want to get in touch with Kieran, that's his website, and obviously I'll be sharing all the notes on that afterwards. And then from me, very briefly, just to let everyone know, in 76 days time we've got the Galactic Dragon Thunder Summit, where we've got 24 of the speakers coming on, which is beautiful, and they'll be sharing over 26 hours live. We'll be starting at 12:30 a.m. on the 21st of July, and we'll be getting to people talking from Australia, then we'll come to the UK, then we'll go over to the US. So there'll be 26 hours, 24 speakers, and I think we've got 43 speakers in total now, so a whole bunch of them are going to be recording. So I'll just chuck the links in here, and obviously when I share all the notes, I'll share this all again. So do come on to that, and we've also got all the recordings from last year, all the beautiful speakers, and also every single Dragon Talks is there. So if you want to immerse yourself for months and months in dragons and hearing all the different opinions of everyone, then it's beautiful. And as Kieran was saying, some things people will say they're not fit with you, so just put them aside. Don't reject that person, but take what works for you. And I found that every person I listen to, there's something that resonates, and there's some bits I'm like, I'm not sure about that, that's not for me. That's fine. Don't reject everything. As they say, don't throw the baby out the bathwater. Just take the bits that work for you and work out your own truths, and there's always something from every single person will assist you in your journey. Yes, beautiful to see you all as usual. We're on again in a month's time. Next time we've got 3 speakers, which is beautiful. So yeah, so thank you, Kieran, again, and thank you to Yuki from Japan, who's now currently in England. But yeah, do check out these beautiful people, and if there's any questions, then obviously you know how to contact these people. And if anyone wants to speak on here, please let me know. As I always say, this isn't just for people that have been talking about dragons for years. If you've got a 5-minute segment where you want to come on and say, I met a dragon, it was a purple one, it was in my garden and it was messing with my washing, whatever, just come on, because it encourages other people to go, oh, that's the same experience I've had. And over time, your experience with dragons will grow, and maybe one day you'll be teaching, like Kieran, some skills that you've picked up, and maybe in 20 years' time you'll be talking on talks like this. So feel brave and come on and talk. And if you're not sure, just talk to me. I'm a nice guy. I won't bite you. Just come on and say, oh, I fancy talking about this, and I'll encourage you. And a lot of our speakers that have been on, there was Peter Dresler that was afraid to come on, and he came on and he talked for 2 hours solid about dragons. So you just never know. Your dragons are there surrounding you, protecting you, and encouraging you to speak your truth. So if you want to come on and talk for a minute or 2 hours, then do let me know. Anyway, beautiful to see you all. Honour your time. Have a beautiful rest of your days, weekends. Those that in the UK have amazing bank holiday, hopefully it'll be lovely and sunny. We will see. So it's lovely to see you all. Mind how you all go. Bye for now. Bye bye.